I think that going into periods that have you afraid, that you need to maintain more liquidity than you otherwise would. And maintaining liquidity during an inflationary period is really painful. The idea that I, as an example, am maintaining high US dollar liquidity, mostly in short-term treasuries, paying me 5%, when the currency that I'm saving in is depreciating from my count at 7%, not the 3.4 suggested by the CPI, means that those savings are costing me 1.8% a year. I consider that 1.8% annualized loss as an option premium on having the liquidity available to take advantage of dislocations that might occur in a market in a panic. I remember heading into 2008 with a lot of liquidity, and I remember that 2009 was one of the best investment periods of my life because I had both the cash and the courage to take advantage of a circumstance where most of my competitors had neither. So to the extent that the questioner is nervous about global geopolitics or nervous about the impact of debt and deficits in his or her home country, I would tell them that the first line of defense is liquidity. For myself, liquidity includes precious metals. I consider gold and silver to be money, volatile money, but good money nonetheless. It's only money if, in a panic, you are willing to turn that gold or silver into an investment in another asset class that becomes depressed as a consequence of the financial panic. In other words, gold and silver are only liquidity if you think of them as liquidity. For me, they're good if volatile liquidity.
Experienced investor Rick Rule delves into the complexities of managing investments in uncertain times. He emphasizes the importance of maintaining liquidity during periods of fear and inflation, recalling how his courage and cash reserves in 2009 led to significant gains amid market turmoil. Rule underscores the significance of liquidity as the first line of defense against global geopolitical concerns and economic uncertainties, advocating for a diverse approach that includes precious metals like gold and silver. Rule challenges the notion of a universal investment strategy, highlighting the need for periodic reviews of investment holdings. He explains his approach, evaluating a company's value creation opportunities, assessing probabilities, and comparing stock prices to future potential values. The key lies in conscious decision-making and ongoing effort, contrasting the hope for an effortless solution to the childhood belief in the tooth fairy. The most crucial takeaway, however, lies in Rule's explanation of the cost of liquidity during inflationary periods, where maintaining high US dollar liquidity can lead to losses due to depreciating currencies. Let's dive into the rest of the video to find out.
I don't think there's a one size fits all. What I try to do is periodically review the reasons that I own the stock. Let's say that I own, a development stage company. I might assume that the circumstance that adds value is the completion of the feasibility study and the attainment of the capital necessary to put the mine in production at reasonable terms. If the company's ability to do that becomes problematic, in other words, if I think they're going to be unsuccessful, I sell the stock. If they have been successful, I look at what the next value creation opportunity is. Maybe it's on time, on budget completion at nameplate capacity. I try to assess what the probability of that is, how much time it will take, and what the value of the company will be upon successful completion. If the price of the stock now is at a substantial enough discount to what I think the probable value of the company is 18 months from now or 2 years from now, at successful completion, I either hold it or buy more. If the stock is overvalued relative to the probabilistic value on successful completion, or if I think that successful completion is unlikely for various reasons, I'm likely to sell the stock. I realize that the questioner is looking for a one-size-fits-all answer that doesn't require him or her to do any work, very much like we were all hoping for the tooth fairy when we were a kid. But absent our mother and father, of course, that tooth fairy didn't exist. So the truth is that the question itself requires consciousness and work.
Rick Rule addresses the global energy landscape with a focus on coal demand and alternative energy sources. Despite environmental concerns, Rule points out that coal demand surged in 2022 and continues to rise, especially in regions lacking electricity access. He challenges the notion that developing nations should sacrifice their economic growth due to carbon emissions, emphasizing that the responsibility lies with developed countries that historically contributed to environmental issues. Rule highlights the staggering investments in alternative energies, which, despite efforts, have only marginally reduced fossil fuel market share. He argues that until cost-effective, non-carbon generating baseload power, particularly nuclear technology, becomes viable, carbon emissions are inevitable. He stresses the harsh reality. Billions of people worldwide aspire to Western living standards, which will impact the environment unless a practical solution is found. The discussion shifts to the disconnect between the green narrative and its economic consequences. Rule contends that consumers desire green initiatives until they face higher costs for essentials like heating and transportation. He urges viewers to move past idealistic narratives and focus on economic realities and mathematics.
Despite the wishes of the big thinkers and the pronouncements of Ms. Thornburg, the greatest year in human history with regards to coal demand was 2022. Now that it's October of 2023, we've already eclipsed this year. There are coal plants being built around the world, including, ironically, the opening of a new coal mine in Germany that's being accomplished with the tearing down of a wind farm.
Wow.
Uh, I mentioned that not because it's economically important statistically, but merely because it's funny.
Yeah.
Important to understand that there are 1 billion poor people on Earth with no access to electricity. It's important to understand that there are 2 billion people on Earth that have access to intermittent or unaffordable electricity. And the idea that we are going to deny them access to the same lifestyle opportunities that we face as a consequence of a carbon budget that we contributed. Those poor people didn't put the carbon in the atmosphere 30 years ago. We did. And while they are probably interested in our feelings, they aren't as interested in our feelings as they are in acquiring electricity. The second fact is that we have now invested almost $5 trillion in alternative energies. And we've reduced the market share of fossil fuel over 40 years from a high of 82% all the way down to 81%.
Wow.
So while there's a wonderful narrative, which I agree with, we shouldn't be pumping more crap into the air. We shouldn't be pumping more crap in the water. Until technology, in particular nuclear technology, allows us to generate sufficient cheap baseload power in a non-carbon generating fashion, we are going to generate carbon because there's 3 billion people who don't live like us who want to and are going to. The alternative of that is that the lifestyle that we enjoy is going to be really materially negatively affected in a way that North American, Western consumers and voters will have no part of. They want the green narrative until it results in higher heating bills and higher gasoline prices and an unavailability of the lifestyle to which they've become accustomed. It's important that we get past expectations based on narrative and get back to expectations based on economics and arithmetic. Unless North American consumers want to pay 50 cents a kilowatt hour for electricity and $20 a gallon for gasoline. I mean, we can do it.
Thank you for tuning in to this eye-opening analysis. We hope you found this discussion insightful and thought-provoking. Remember, understanding the complexities of the financial landscape is crucial in making informed decisions about your investments. If you appreciated the insights shared in this video, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and click on the notification bell so you never miss an update. Share your thoughts and questions in the comments below. We love hearing from our viewers. Stay informed, stay vigilant, and most importantly, stay ahead in your financial journey. Until next time, Take care and invest wisely.